AITA for breaking up with my partner after finding out they were cheating? Here's my story. I, 28F, was in a relationship with my partner, Mark, 30M, for 5 years. Things were great at first, we clicked instantly, and I genuinely thought I had found my soulmate. We shared the same interests, values, and goals for the future. I thought we were on the same page about everything. We had even started talking about marriage, and I felt like it was only a matter of time before we took the next step. But a few months ago, I noticed something strange. Mark started acting distant, more protective of his phone, and often claimed he was busy with work. I chalked it up to stress at first, trying not to jump to conclusions, but something in my gut told me something wasn't right. I've always trusted Mark, and the thought of him lying to me never crossed my mind before. He was always the type to be open and honest about everything. We were best friends as well as partners, so when things started changing, I didn't want to believe it. I just thought maybe he was going through a phase or had some personal issues that he wasn't ready to share yet. Then one night, while Mark was in the shower, his phone buzzed on the nightstand. Normally, I wouldn't think twice about it, but that nagging feeling took over. I picked it up and saw a message pop up from someone named Sarah. My heart sank as I read the text. "Last night was amazing. Can't wait to see you again." I froze. I felt my world crashing down. Who was this Sarah? Why was she saying those things to my boyfriend? I didn't want to believe it, but there it was, staring me in the face, the confirmation of my worst fears. I quickly checked his recent messages. They weren't many, but they were enough. There were flirtatious exchanges, hidden behind what seemed like harmless small talk, but I could tell from the tone that this wasn't just a friend. I felt sick, nauseous, as I realized the extent of what was happening behind my back. I didn't know what to do. I was shaking, trying to decide whether I should confront him right away or wait for him to come clean. But how could I sit on this? How could I wait for him to lie his way out of this? I couldn't. So, when Mark came out of the shower, I didn't waste any time. I confronted him. "Who's Sarah?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Mark froze, his face draining of color. He tried to take his phone from my hands, but I wasn't letting go. I demanded an explanation. After a long silence, he finally confessed. He told me that he had been seeing Sarah for the past 6 months, and while it was never anything serious, it had gone further than just texting. He claimed it was just physical and didn't mean anything. I felt like I'd been slapped in the face. 6 months. For 6 months, I had been walking around thinking everything was fine, planning our future, while he was seeing someone else behind my back. I asked him how long he'd been lying to me, and he admitted that he'd been hiding it from the very beginning. The first time they'd slept together was about a month after he started acting distant. I couldn't even process what I was hearing. How could he betray me like this? I had been nothing but loyal, giving him everything I had. And for what? For some fleeting fling that meant nothing to him? He didn't even seem genuinely sorry. He was more upset that I had found out than the fact that he had hurt me. He tried to convince me it was a mistake, that he didn't mean for it to happen, but I couldn't see how I could ever trust him again. I felt like I was suffocating. The room felt like it was closing in on me. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. The person I had loved and trusted with my whole heart was standing in front of me, admitting to something that shattered everything we had built together. "Please, just give me another chance," he begged. "I'll end it with Sarah. I swear, I'll do anything to make it right." But I couldn't. How could I even consider going back to someone who had hurt me so deeply? I couldn't fathom forgiving him, knowing that he had been lying to me for months. I had to leave. So, without saying another word, I packed my things and walked out. Mark didn't understand. He begged me to stay, but I didn't want to hear it. I had to leave for my own sanity. I couldn't stay with someone who had so easily betrayed my trust. It wasn't just the cheating that hurt. It was the lies, the manipulation, and the utter disrespect he had shown me. I stayed at my best friend's house for the next few days, trying to process everything. I had never been in this kind of situation before. I had been cheated on in the past, but never in a relationship that felt as deep as this one. We had built so much together, mutual friends, shared memories, a life that I had thought would be permanent. The calls from Mark started almost immediately. He pleaded with me to come back, telling me he was sorry, that he made a huge mistake. He even texted me a long message, claiming he was lost and needed help. He promised me that he would end things with Sarah and would do whatever it took to prove his love to me. He even went as far as to send me screenshots of his conversations with her, showing that he had told her it was over. But I wasn't fooled. Those words were just that, words. Actions speak louder than words. My family was divided. My mom, ever the optimist, told me that relationships can be repaired if both people are willing to work on it. She asked me to consider giving him another chance, believing that Mark truly loved me and that this was a one-time mistake. My sister, on the other hand, was furious. She said that once trust is broken, it's nearly impossible to get it back, and I shouldn't even think about taking him back. I went back and forth on what to do for weeks. Every time I thought I was done with him, he would reach out again, with more apologies and promises. It felt like a tug-of-war, my emotions constantly pulling me in different directions. Part of me wanted to believe he could change, but another part of me just couldn't shake the image of him with someone else. I knew I could never look at him the same way again. I spent a lot of time talking to my friends, especially my best friend, Lisa. She's been through something similar, and her advice was invaluable. She told me to focus on myself and my own healing. You deserve someone who will never make you question their loyalty, she said. Don't settle for someone who doesn't see your worth. After weeks of emotional turmoil, I finally made the decision. I sent Mark a message telling him that I couldn't keep going back and forth. I had made up my mind, I was done. I couldn't live in the past, constantly wondering what else he was hiding. I needed to move on, for my own peace of mind. Mark didn't take it well. He called me 1,000,000 times, leaving voicemail after voicemail, begging for a second chance. He even showed up at my apartment a few days later, but I didn't let him in. I had to be strong, even though every part of me wanted to fall back into his arms. I knew that I was worth more than that. So here I am, a few weeks later, still grappling with the aftermath of this decision. I miss him sometimes. The good times we had were truly wonderful, but the betrayal has overshadowed all of it. I wonder if I made the right choice, but deep down, I know that I did. I can't keep second-guessing myself. Now, I'm focusing on myself. I'm taking things day by day, learning to trust myself again, and working on my own healing. But I'm still haunted by the question, AITA for breaking up with him? Was I too harsh? Should I have given him another chance, or was walking away the right decision?